Hey guys and girls, my name is Stefan and I'm from Life Academy. I just want to say a huge thank you for joining us on one of our online tutorials. Today we are going to be doing our seed bird feeder, which is absolutely beautiful, and we get to upcycle an old wine bottle. Okay, as you open your box, you will find all the goodies you need in order to complete this project. First, we have a nice drip sheet, piece of paper. Please, if you're working on your mom's table, make sure you put this out to protect it. Okay, we're going to be putting our drip sheet down. Then we have our clean wine bottle. It is important that your wine bottle has a tapered neck. Okay, we have a bracket that holds our wine bottle. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 pieces of wood, a pack of nails and screws, a little tub for our linseed oil, our base which ends up holding our bird seed, a screwdriver, a paintbrush, and some sandpaper. So let's get started. I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about what we have and how it works. Let's start with the wood. We have got 18mm shutter ply, and it is made out of pine wood. It is shutter ply because you can see there's many layers, and what they do is they take our grain, which are these lines, and they stick them alternating. Okay, so they'll take a sheet like this where the grain is running down, and they'll stick it to a sheet where the grain is running across, and they repeat that step 7 to 8 times to get 18mm. We've got 2 pieces of wood at 18mm, and then we've got another piece of wood which is 12mm, and these are these 2, also pine shutter ply. We have our little screwdriver, and I'm going to show you how this works. It is a star screwdriver as well as a flat screwdriver, and to get the flat screwdriver out, you push this little metal thing in, you pull your screwdriver out, flip it around, and now it's a flat screwdriver, but we are going to be using majority star. Okay, our sandpaper. This sandpaper is used to roughen or smoothen edges, and at the back of our sandpaper there is normally a P with a number, and now that number dictates how rough or how smooth our sandpaper is. P100 is a perfect sandpaper to be using for wood. P8000 is great for when you are using metals or paint and you need to smoothen a section, and P40 is one of the roughest you can get. So we are going to be using P100. Okay. As we open our pack of screws, let me explain what's going on here. Okay, these are star screws, and they have a little cross on the head of the screw which matches the star screwdriver. Okay, if your screw is flat like this little screw, there's one line down, that is for your flat screwdriver. So we have a few star screws that are brass, and those are for connecting our pieces of wood together. Then we have one of these star screws, and this is actually used for drywalling. So the screw is thin and the thread is very, very wide, and it holds better. Okay, we've got a small screw which we're going to be using to attach our plastic to our base. We have a little hook which goes in the top of our bird feeder so that we can hang it from a tree, and then we have a washer, and this washer is going to end up going on our drywalling screw, and that is going to attach our bracket to our bird feeder. Awesome. Now that we've done that, let's get started. To get started, we're going to start off by sanding. And how we're going to do that is you fold your sandpaper a third over so that your numbers are facing up and the rough side is facing down, and you make a quacky face with your hand and you grab your sandpaper like this. Okay, it gives you enough traction on the top so that your hand doesn't slip and your thumb holds it at the bottom. When we're sanding, you make sure that you sand with the part of the sandpaper that does not have your finger in the way, otherwise you're going to get splinters. Okay, sandpaper is used to take away splinters, and that is exactly what we're going to do. We are going to sand all our edges, 1, 2, and all the corners with our sandpaper. Make it nice and smooth so that we can come back and do the rest. We're going to be doing all 4 pieces, and then we're going to be putting it together. So let's get started. Take your hand, push it down on your piece of wood, and you push up and down like that. Okay? Go along the edges. Okay, you can't sand too much, but you can sand too little. So, when it is nice and smooth and you're happy with how it's been sanded, you are done. I will see you guys back here once all your pieces have been sanded. Make sure to do it nicely and get rid of all the rough edges. Awesome guys, we have now sanded all our pieces and we are going to get building. So grab your screwdriver, grab your brass star screws, and let's get started. You will notice that on your pieces of wood there are some pilot holes, which are these little holes that are pre-drilled. Okay, that is to make screwing your screws into your wood much easier for you. It also stops the screw from splitting your wood open. So we've put pilot holes in. Now you've got a beautiful side and you've normally got a not so beautiful side of the wood. That is because when they make the wood, they design it so that one side is always facing outwards. Okay, we want our beautiful side to be in front, which means we're going to be putting in our screws into the ugly looking side. Okay, or the not as nice side. Put your screw into your screwdriver. Okay, and then it's righty-tighty. So you turn clockwise. And you push down. So when you're screwing, you always push down and turn clockwise at the same time. Okay, if you need some help, get one of your mom or dad to do it, or an older brother or sister. We are not going to screw the screw all the way in. We are only going to screw it in about halfway, and that is just to make our lives a little bit easier when we are building our bird feeder. Okay, now that we've got them halfway, you can see that what's left on top of the wood is smooth. So all the thread of our screw is now sitting in the wood like that. Okay, it is just about to pop out on the other side. We take our piece of wood, we take our base, which is this square, and we line it up nicely. Okay, like that, nice and even. You can get someone to help you support this side while you screw. I'm going to use the strength of my fingers, and we push hard down and we screw that in. Boom, there's one. Make sure we're going straight, and we do the other one as well. Voila. Okay, there is our base of our bird feeder. This is our back, and now we need to attach the roof. We are going to repeat the same steps that we did with the previous, With the previous pilot holes, we're going to put our screws into each one of those pilot holes. This wood is thinner, so we're not going to go nearly as deep as we did with the first piece. We are literally going to go in just a little so that it holds it straight for us. When we are doing this, make sure you put the screws in the right side. You will realize if it's the right or the wrong side when you're attaching your roof to your backboard. If it is on the wrong side, take the screws out, flip your wood over and put in the screws again so that they line up. Piece down. Okay, there we go. Now, take our bird feeder and replace our roof with the screws closest to the top so that it intersects with the piece of wood like that. Okay, the roof must overhang in the front and not over the back, because otherwise the birds are going to get wet while eating. Okay, it is also used to cover the wine bottle. So we put our birdhouse roof on. Again, you can get someone to help you. I'm going to use my fingers, and we screw in our pieces of wood. If you find when you are screwing in your piece of wood that this piece is lifting, it's because you are not pushing hard enough down. Okay, so if your piece of wood lifts, you need to push harder down. And go all the way in. There we go. Boom. Okay. That's nice and tight. We're going to repeat it with this piece as well. Cool. So now that we have put in all our screws, our next job is to oil our pieces of wood. Now, oil is much lighter than water, and you would have noticed if you've ever tried to put cooking oil in a glass of water, you'll see that the oil and the water don't mix. The oil will sit on top. How oil works with wood is the wood absorbs the oil and the oil sits in the wood, and if water lands on it, the oil repels the water. So it protects our wood from going rotten. Water makes the wood go rotten. This oil that you've got is linseed oil, and it is safe. It is not poisonous, but it does get all over the place. So take our bottle, empty our bottle of linseed oil into our little container, and you have a paintbrush. Pull the packet off, and we are going to paint all over our bird feeder. Okay, the oil must go everywhere in your bird feeder, on all the edges, underneath, all over the place. If there's any spot without oil, the water's going to go in and it's going to start going rotten. Dip just the tip of your paintbrush in, like that, and start oiling. Okay, and paint all the edges. And I guess I'll see you when we're all done. Okay, now that we have oiled all our sides, our tops, our bottoms, absolutely everywhere, pack our oil away to the side. And now we need to attach our base and our bracket and our little golden hook. Okay, let's do this nice and quickly. Your base, you'll see there's a little pilot hole, and that goes onto your bottom piece of wood. Okay, using this little screw, it's also a star screw, connect it to your screwdriver and put it into that little hole. And screw your base nice and tight it down onto your piece of wood. Okay, you don't want to tighten your screw too much as it's going to crack your plastic, but your base, your little tray mustn't move. Awesome. Now we are going to put in our bracket. We are going to use our drywalling screw with our washer that goes onto our drywalling screw, and this is going to go through that hole from the front. So we are going to put the screw in like that. You'll notice you've got a pilot hole in your board. Take your screwdriver, make sure your screw goes into that pilot hole, and tighten your screw. Wait, hands are nice and slippery from all the oil. Okay. Don't tighten it all the way in. You want to loosen it a little bit so that you can move it, and make sure that your bracket is nice and centered before you tighten it. Boom, perfect. Now all we need to do is pick up our bird feeder, put in our little hook into the top of our bird feeder in line with these screws in the middle, and this you just push down and you twist, and the screw goes in. Perfect. Cool. Final step is to add our wine bottle. Slide it in. And voila. You're done. Now, if your wine bottle doesn't go in, you swap your screwdriver around to the flat side. Okay. And you tighten or loosen these little bolts. Okay, if you're going to loosen it, the bracket opens and your wine bottle will slide in easier. If you find that your wine bottle is hitting the floor, the base, then you need to lift your wine bottle a little bit and tighten these so that it holds your wine bottle. Okay, mine is absolutely perfect, and now it's ready for seeds. So, to put seeds in, you'll take your wine bottle out with a bit of a twist. Okay. You use a funnel, put your wild bird seed into the neck of the bottle, then you will hold the bottle over here, block the cap, turn it upside down, and push it down. Once you move your hand, all the seeds are going to come out, and the seeds will end up coming to the top of your bottle. Okay, and that top has to be lower than the sides of your tray, otherwise the seeds are going to pour out. As the birds eat the seeds, more seeds will drop from the top of the bottle. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much for joining us on our seed bird feeder online tutorial, and I hope to see you guys again soon.